In the Vedic age, when I say Vedic age, the age of the Samhita, Rig Veda Samhita, Yajurveda, etc., both the women and the motherhood had extraordinarily great respect. Woman was viewed not just as a person bringing out the children, but as the nourisher of all in the family. The husband was called as the child of the wife in some sense, because she nourishes him also. So both the idea of women and the motherhood are very important, stressed again and again in the Veda. Veda sort of doesn't say that monasticism is important. It welcomes, there are so many verses in praise of the married persons and family life. All the Rishis were married. Among them, a wife of a Rishi is not necessarily a Rishi, or a son of a Rishi is not necessarily a Rishi, because Rishi is someone who has to attain that status by the grace of the gods and his efforts. Therefore, for example, in the first mandala, 10th Sukta, Indra is called as the Rishi Kriti. Therefore, women is considered respect. It is not like at later times when women was called as the person who sort of comes in the way of husband's spiritual attainments and other things. Such ideas is not there. Woman is considered as a highly privileged person. Similarly, there are the women devas are there. Clearly, there is no such thing as the women devas as such, because there is no sex for the deva or the gods. But distinction is there. A distinction is, see, there is always, Veda makes a distinction between Purusha and Prakriti. This is not a sexual distinction. Purusha is that power which supports everything. But Prakriti is the power which executes everything. Some of the gods, in all of them, we speak of the Saraswati, we speak of the goddess of the inspiration, Ida, the goddess of revelation, Mahi, the goddess of vastness, Aditi, the goddess of infinity. Like this we have so many, and Sarama, the goddess of the intuition. All of these are there. Therefore, I can't describe all of them to you, but Devas are there and the Devis are there, and their powers are clearly differentiated. For example, Aditi is the goddess, who can in some sense pervades the heaven and everything. She knows what is the future and the past and all these things. For example, in the first mandala itself, in the 89th Sukta, so we have this idea, Aditi Dyauh, Aditi Antariksham, Aditi Mata, Aditi Pita, Aditi Panchajana, Aditi what comes before and after. Therefore, Aditi, so it's not that women gods are inferior to sort of men gods. No, they are different. That is the idea. One supports the other, one manifests the other. So family life was highly respected in the Veda. After all, they understand that without nourishing, nothing can happen. Therefore, nourishing happens in the family. It is the mother, the wife, who nourishes the things. Family has a great respect in the Veda. As a matter of fact, the pure monasticism we don't find in the Veda at all. Only in the Atharva Veda we speak of the people who continuously move around. Okay, that is sort of they are highly small category. Okay. Second question: who are the Rishikas? What is common about them? Is Brahmavadin another name for Rishika? By and large, I prefer the Rushika shouldn't be used. It is simply Stri Rushi. Therefore, she is the Rushi. As important as the man Rushis. Okay. There is nothing common about all the Rushis, just as there is nothing common between all the male Rushis like Vishwamitra, Vasita. Similarly, there are so many women Rushis also. Nothing common about them. And our Sunil has given me a long list of names for which to. How do I know the women is a lady is a Rishi is a lady? You see, every name has two things: her own name or his own name, and the lineage name. But when it refers to a woman, that lineage is like at the end is transformed to indicate the woman. For example, one of the famous persons, 10th mandala, her name is Vag, and her father was Ambrana. Therefore, she is Ambrini. Therefore, her name is Vag Ambrini. Therefore, there should be both changes. You can't look at the only one name and say it is a woman's name. For example, the list given by Sunil, he listed Ula Gopayana, he is a woman. No, that is not true because Gopayana is not a woman's name. That is the idea. Ula may look like a woman's name. Therefore, whenever we have to correct both of them, the first name should indicate a woman's name, and the second lineage name, the end is modified so that it is. In the Veda, Brahmavadin is another name not used in the Veda but comes in the Upanishad. For in the Veda, 8th mandala says, Stri Brahma Babhuva, 8th mandala. Therefore, Brahma in the Veda always means the mantra. Therefore, the woman has become a knower of the mantra. Another mantra says, Stri has become competent to perform yajna. If we are looking at the women's ending of the word, we can see that. Therefore, in the Veda, all of these epithets are there. Specifically, see, normally we have to be careful because I may as well take a few minutes here to make a clarification. We should understand, all of us we believe is in the what we call as the ladder of consciousness, which is the essential thing for Vedic understanding. Lowest is the pure matter. Then we have our prana level involving our likes, dislikes, and achievements, etc. Then we have the manas having a intellectual side, the ability to work, etc. These three are the basic three levels. So in these three levels, as we have said, there is a corresponding three levels, three worlds within us also. And beyond that, most importantly, there is what is called as the world of Swar. It is called as the sun world. And above that, the Sachidananda, we don't worry about it at all. So, when we speak of this, so for us, the most important are the four worlds, Annam, Prana, Mana. Whether in the cosmos or within us, these three are like basically padegars. They are always fighting with each other. It is only in the fourth world, or Swar, it is called. So, the corresponding word in the Upanishad is Mahas. Therefore, when we understand that there, complete harmony is there. Therefore, the power of the Swar is trying to make the lower three become more harmonious. Therefore, there is a level much higher called the Parame Vyoman. It is there. So for example, one mandala, first mandala, 164th Sukta, 39th mantra says, all the mantras reside in this Parame Vyoman. They existed before any Rishis were born, and they exist after all the Rishis die away. Parame Vyoman. For now, the modern age is easy to understand. It is like a huge sort of network support and that sort of thing. Therefore, remember, it is the highest, Parame Vyoman, not ordinary thing. Therefore, when a Rishi by means of his tapas, he gets access to this realm. Then what happens? He hears, as it were, a mantra that comes out of his mouth. Only then we call him or her as a Rishi. So it comes out of the mouth, that's true. But how does he remember it? But he is conscious. Therefore, when he is reciting, when the words come out of the mouth, there may be the disciples who also will hear it. In those days, even now, even Chinese travelers like Mahayan insist that there are Indians, Hindus at that time, who can remember anything after hearing it only once. Therefore, Rishi, he doesn't utter only one mantra, he utters a sukta, sometimes 30 or 40 mantra. When he comes out of that trance state, it is not like Ramakrishna's state. He is completely conscious. Then what does he do? He repeats again the mantras, all of them. Then other people recite. Therefore, it becomes a common property. In the sukta itself, there is no name at all. You have to remember. So, therefore, the sukta doesn't say who is the sort of to whom. It is the disciples who say the Rishi was so and so. It is what we call as the header. Therefore, separate the information. Therefore, when I say Stri Brahma Bhabuva, that is in the mantra proper. It is not in the header. So that is the important distinction. Therefore, whether man or a woman, when she gets access to the supreme thing, then the mantra reveals itself. People say, what is the difference between this mantra composition and ordinary? Ordinary poets don't have access to the sun world. What they have, remember I said the Anna, Prana, Mana. For shortcut, there are 3 levels, 17 levels are there. Between the level of Manas and the Swara, so many levels are there. So Sri Aurobindo calls the immediate level after the Manas as the over mental level. It is from there most of our famous poets like Kalidasa and others get their inspiration. For then they have to get it and they have to correct it, to get the meter, etc. They have to work upon it also. So that is called composition. For composition of the Kalidasa, Shakespeare and others, it comes from the plane much below the sun world. It is above our mental world. Therefore, Sri Aurobindo calls it as the over mental world. He calls the Swar world as the supra-mental world, highest. There are so many other levels are also there. Therefore, make a distinction. Therefore, the Vedic, the person from whom the mantra has come out, it is not a composition. It's automatic. It is revealed means words come out of the mouth, and the same idea is given in the first mandala, 10th sukta. For O Indra, he says, by your grace, the mantra has come out. Even though I recite the mantra has come out by your grace only. Therefore, that's how I am thankful to you. That's how it says. Therefore, Lady Rishies are there. Nothing common between them. Nothing common between the Rishis. But the method of obtaining the mantra is same, whether it is a man Rishi or a Stri Rishi. And Brahmavadin is the name we see in the Upanishad. The Brahmavadin, Gargi is a typical Brahmavadina name. Third question. The remote incidence of having large number of women intellectuals during Rig Vedic period terminated after Upanishadic period. Why it happened so? First of all, we don't know large number or small number. We have no idea at all. But what we have to understand is that because these mantras came to the supreme plane, more attention was given to remembering them. More disciples were there, therefore disciples repeated it every day and they transmitted to their disciples. That's how it has come. After our age of the Upanishads, they had other more interesting things to do, number one. Number two, this access to the supreme plane became not so common. We can't say why, but it is true. Whenever we have to understand Veda mantra, every Veda mantra has a surface meaning and a deeper meaning. Before we have to go to the deeper meaning to understand it. The original commentator says there are only 6 mantras in the sukta. They say 2 mantras to Agastya, 2 mantras Lopamudra, and they put another mantra to so-called Brahmachari. That's not uncalled for. If you look at Lopamudra, all the Lopamudra says is that clearly she wants a baby, but our Sri Aurobindo say to have a baby, you have to prepare for it. How? That is the idea of doing a little bit of spiritual practice. Therefore, you prepare the sort of receive the bull, as it were, and therefore it happens also. Therefore, these symbols, I have explained these symbols in my translation of the Rig Veda Samhita. Our Rig Veda Mandala has, I put it in our Sakshi book in 3 parts. It is in the 3rd book, 1.179. You can read them. Therefore, it is completely understandable, not viewed only in the surface. What is the social status of women during Vedic age? Did they enjoy equal status? Whether they got freedom to choose their husbands? At which age they got married? You see, this equality, you should be careful. The role of the wife was a nourisher. Therefore, she not only cooked the food, she did all the things. Husband, of course, not only he recited the mantras, other people did agricultural work and that sort of thing. Therefore, they had their own spheres of activity, as it were. Therefore, nobody was considered as inferior or superior. Did they get freedom to choose the husband? Answer is yes. Even today, in Indian languages, husband is called as a vara, that who is chosen by the women. Therefore, there are many examples in the Rig Veda of the person praying for the right husband and that sort of thing. It is not like, in the later times in the Ramayana we have Swayamvara, a competition. No such thing is mentioned in the Rig Veda. A person, of course, she knew some of the people and they got to know each other. Therefore, that is the idea in the Vivaha Sukta, 10th Mandala, 85th. The same idea is there in the Atharva Veda also. At which age they got married? Usually at a very young age. When they became sort of puberty, they crossed the puberty age, maybe in the late the teenage or early 20s, they got married. Exceptions are there. For example, there is a Lady Rishi, Gosha Kakshivati. She mentions that she became a maid, unmarried at an older age because she had some sort of a skin disease and that sort of thing. Such examples are there. Why Buddhism, with its open-mindedness, did not create any famous women sages? Buddhism is a too complicated subject, but Buddha himself felt the presence of the women sages in the ashram who divert the attention. He says, once the women are admitted, the life of this will become half, as it were. Therefore, only much later a lady started the nunnery, I forget her name. So, Buddha had all his prejudices also, in some sense, Therefore, against the woman, very much he was like the traditional sannyasin in that sense of the word. Therefore, he wanted people, because he said the whole family life according to him was a state of misery. Therefore, if you follow the eightfold path. And remember, our Buddha is a much later one. You see, Buddha's period, people say, is 500 before our common era. But Veda, you see, remember, is 4000 before the common era. The long period is there. And even by the time of Ramayana, as a matter of fact, the deeper meaning of Veda had already gone. Nobody mentions it. Therefore, remember, a long time in some sense. Therefore, by the time he knew of Veda only as performing outward rituals. See, yajna, as I said, is not only outward ritual, but also inward ritual. Therefore, many people, 20th century complain, for the outer yajna, you need a wife. What happens when the wife dies? Does the old man pick up another wife? The people know in the Veda we are speaking of the antaryajna, whether a wife, into a lady or a man could do within himself without any other support. That is this idea. Whatever Sunil does is, below are the Rishis of Rig Veda. As I said, I don't like the word Rishika. 3 Rishis. Please talk about their contribution. The number he gives is Aditi, Aditir Dakshayani, Agasyavara, Apala Atreyi. Note the endings. Apala means woman, Atreyi, Dakshina Prajapatya, Goda, Gosha Kakshivati, Indrani, Indramataraha, Jarita Sharanga, Juhu Brahma Jaya, Kashyapi, Lopa Mudra, Ratri Bharadwaji, Romasa, Surya Savitri, Sarama Devashuni, Sarparagni, Shashwati Angirasi, Shachi Paulomi, Shraddha Kamayani, Sikata Nivavari, Suditi Angirasa, Tvashta Garbhakarta, Urvashi, Vagambrini, Vashukra Patni, Vishwavara Atreyi, Yami Vaivasvati, Yami. These are all the names are recited up to now. They are clearly women. The other list he adds Bindu, Angirasa, Ito, Bhargava. They are not women because their names at the last half of the name do not indicate that they are women at all. Before, as I told you, looking at a sukta, we can't say who composed, that is, what is the sex, because both of them deal with the idea of the gods, the presence of the gods, how to manifest, and all of them. So one of the important points of Veda always is that when we pray to the gods, Agni, Indra, their energy becomes a manifested image. Therefore, in some sense, it is not like swallowing a capsule. The energy grows like a plant. Therefore, just as a child grows in the womb of the mother, this energy of, let us say, Indra or Agni grows like a plant. That's why Rishi considers himself as the father of this god. That is this idea. Therefore, he regards the god as his son. Therefore, this important symbolic idea. Therefore, many times we miss. For example, one mantra says, in the Veda, the four important gods are Agni, Indra, Soma. And that Soma is important because he represents the delight of existence occurring everywhere in the universe. Nothing can exist in the universe if there is no delight. You take this small leaf, small flower, you take this piece of the sand, look at them carefully, how important it is. Therefore, so one mantra says, Soma janayati matim, Soma janayati indra. Soma creates Indra. What it means is, he helps the Indra power to manifest in a human being. He doesn't create the cosmic Indra, he creates the Indra power in man. Soma janayati, Ganapati, and etc. etc. So that is the important idea. Okay. So the question was asked, can I not comment upon a few of them? Yes, I will. The most interesting thing is our Aditi, Vak Ambrini. This is the 10th mandala, 125th sukta. This lady, her name is Vak, or the speech, and her lineage is Ambrana, her father, therefore Ambrini. For it's called Vagambrini. She is does her tapas so much, she becomes identified with the great power of speech itself. Therefore her mantra states, Aham Rudrebihi Vasubihi Charami. Therefore he says, I know, because of my powers, Rudras and Vasus move. And therefore he says, Aham Rashtri Sangamani Vasunam. I collect all the riches. Therefore she says, only those people, I tell this to both the gods and men, only those people who are aware of my power and respect me, him, he says, I make him a Rishi, I make him a sort of a prosperous person, etc. Rushim Karomi, etc. That is his idea. And he says, those who ignore my powers, who disrespect the speech, then of course they will sort of be considered at all. What is disrespecting the speech? You engage in falsehood, for example, misinterpret things and that sort of thing. Therefore, she makes that point. She says, therefore, that whole 12 mantras is a very interesting example of the power of the speech in some sense. Remember, for the Vedic people, speech was not simply what we hear. There is the 4 levels of speech. This is clearly mentioned in the Rig Veda first mandala itself. Chatvari Vak, it says. There is the Vak which originates in Para. Then it attains what we call as the Pashyanti stage. Then it is the Madhyama in the throat. And finally it becomes the Vaikari in the speech which we hear. Therefore, to understand a deeper meaning, we can't stop at this. That is the reason why mantras cannot be understood unless we do tapas. We have to go understand the Madhyama level or the other levels, even though para level is difficult. That is this idea. Therefore, she is very important. I had mentioned earlier, this lady Gosha Kakshivati. Therefore, her name is Gosha, and her father is Kakshivan. Kakshi means secret. That is this idea. Therefore, she says in her mantra, she has two suktas, 1039 and 1040. She says in that sukta so that she is a maiden and she prays. So in the Veda, the gods who grant particular favors like miracles are the Ashwins. She addresses them to the Ashwins. And therefore she prays to them. And what should he do? She says that, I am old. I have a disease which prevents me from doing things. Therefore the question is this, why should I have to wait till she becomes old? That's what we call our ideas, In the earlier days we tried different things, but then to come to that stage she must have done a lot of tapas. Therefore the tapas is there and the Ashwins cure her disease and also help her father and improve his physical wealth, which is also bothering him also. That is this 1039 and 1040 are very interesting mantras. You see, there is another beautiful mantra called Juhu Brahmajaya. Her name is Juhu, and that mantra is 10 mandala 109. Brahma is the mantra, always in the Veda. Remember, it has nothing to do with the four-faced deity Brahma. Okay? Therefore, when we say Brahmana, he who knows how to speak the mantra. Remember, Veda says, everybody when they are born, they are like a Shudra. They are simply called Balaka or Putra. Therefore, first of all, when they get their the sacred mantra, the first stage they reach, Brahmachari. But that they have to do it for 10-12 years. Then they become Snataka. It is like getting a degree, that's all, but they are not none. So they have to forward. They want to go to the level of the Rishi. Therefore, Veda is very clear on the difference. So, this what happens is, a person, all of us are in a hurry. Therefore, what do we do? Therefore, we make mistakes in recitation. What does it do? Obviously, Brahmajaya, that power goes away from you. Therefore, in some sense, you become a more sort of incompetent, etc. Therefore, Brahmajaya is the power associated with the proper recitation of the mantra. Who is the controller of the mantra? Brahmanaspati. Therefore, the particular person says, Juhu. He says, if you want to please the correct recitation, you have to approach Brahmanaspati, have his favor. Therefore, Brahmajaya comes back to the human being to help him. Therefore, that is this idea of a Brahma. 1072 is Aditi Dakshayani. Aditi is very famous in the Veda, as the lady I told you earlier, power of infinity. Remember, infinity we can't imagine. That's modern sciences have what orders of infinity. Therefore, here is the mention of the birth of the sea. She has 8 sons, as it were, as children. 7th, she takes them to the heaven. And what we call is the 8th son, Martanda, who takes care of the earth and all of its work. Therefore, that whole ideas, is in the 10th mandala, 72nd sukta, very important sukta. Therefore, that's where the idea of Martanda. So, the point is why there should be so much misery in the universe. It is because we can't quite appreciate the deeper ideas involved. Therefore, son, what does he do? He tries hard to illuminate us. That's why he is here, to illuminate us, to help us. Even at the physical level, we are living because sun evaporates the water from the oceans and uses the wind to make it and puts a rain everywhere. We drink the water, it is from him all the plants grow. Even at the physical level it is true. Therefore, not only at the physical level, at the mental level also it is true, at all levels also. Therefore, the habit of repeating therefore even mantra calls it Surya Atma Jagataha Tachutascha. So another sukta is Ratri Bharadvaji. As the name indicates, she belongs to the lineage of Bharadvaja. She is the Ratri. Therefore, this Veda always makes the idea of the night and the day. Day is our normal consciousness, where we get so many experiences. Night is not considered as a bad thing. There we digest our experiences. Therefore, what she does is this Ratri, she makes us digest our experiences and brings forward the dawn, Usha. In the Veda, sun represents what we may call as the mature knowledge. But knowledge always starts from our grade school in some ways. We read a book, we hear a lecture, we are impressed by it. We go, that is highly impressionable, therefore we go to other sources. Therefore slowly, it is not a straight path. We go here, there. Some mistakes automatically become part of it. That is the idea. Therefore, dawn is the beginning of our spiritual journey. And it is the goddess Ratri who introduces us to the dawn, from where we go to the idea of the sun. Therefore, that is the prayer of this lady. Yeah. As usual, there are many prayers for the health. For example, one well-known prayer is Tvashta Garbha Karta. Therefore, this is a mantra of 3 mantras only. The whole idea is how the womb, the child grows, and the powers by means of which the child is designed so as to come out and cut off all the bondages and that sort of thing. So this is a very beautiful, people say, if by reciting this mantra we will have a easy delivery and that sort of thing. Shraddha Kamayani is another important sutta. Again it is a small sutta. It comes in 10.151. That Shraddha basically says it is a faith. But you see, important thing is a faith, not a belief. Shraddha or faith is a power of truth. People have it, that's all. When you say people, they may not know anything, but they have faith in Krishna. He will take care of us. That is, people say, modern people call it as the blind belief, and that's not the idea. They don't know what is this faith. And therefore it is the faith. For example, all of people know the blind faith people have, that if you have a modern education of 20 years, you go to grade school and then go to PU, then degree, you will get a job. What is it? It is nothing but a blind faith, where we have really no idea what will happen. That is not Shraddha. Shraddha really is what we read in the Veda, where we know after we do our practice, we will come into contact with the gods, and the gods' power will be born in us. That is the Shraddha. Therefore, it is the lady Kamayani who does the Shraddha. And then there is another sutra called Shachi Paulomi. Shachi in the Veda is same as our Shakti. In the later Purana, she is the wife of Indra. That's not the point here. Therefore, in some sense, again, it is a short sutra. So, Shachi is how do you realize this Shakti? How do you make it part of your life? Shachi Kamayani. Therefore, I can do so. Yami Vaivasvati is also there. Remember, in the Veda, Yama is not simply the god of death. He is also the controller of the whole universe in some sense. It is only later Puranas become the god of the death. Therefore, there is a sukta called as Yami Vaivasvati, that is also sukta. Therefore, that I think is sufficient overview of some of the famous well-known Lady Rishies also. It is as interesting as to read the suktas of other Rishis like our Madhuchandas or Vishwamitra or Vasishtha and others. So the whole point of Veda is it gives us, as I told you, Rig Veda is not a textbook. Therefore, you don't have to go mantra by mantra or sukta by sukta. Now we have all the indices and that sort of thing. You directly go to a particular lady's sukta, read it, understand, think about it. So don't be carried away by the outward surface meaning. Then of course you will get the benefit. That is the main contribution of the Veda mantras.